No. Your shoulders, relax your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. That's it. Now, you don't need to do that. Now, normal meditation, you're supposed to kind of empty your mind, but to reach the library, what you need to do is you have to think unique thoughts. You have to try and picture things and ideas that nobody has ever thought of before. Like, is removing a paper jam from a photocopier an erotic experience for the photocopier? You know? You have a human open you up, fiddle with your flaps, spin your wheels.
Maybe moment.
No one would ever think about that. No one has ever thought about that. Anyway, hello. Ever. Welcome back. It's Friday. We are into Act 2 of our new version of Life Force, plucking from it elements of the first Men in the Moon. I think meditation may not be a good thing for him.
I don't know. I like my legs up here. I feel comfy.
Thank you for joining us again, and if you are new to the channel, please do all the usual. Don't need to say any more than that. So we're going to do our shout out today for our old friend Batcher. I hope you're alright, buddy. Does a lot of commentary on films, TV, that kind of thing. A lot of streaming service stuff. He's got a couple of shows that he does on his channel. There's Rot, which is reviewing old trailers.
Oh, great title. I like it. I really do like it, yeah.
And he's just started a new one as well called Consuming Filth, which is his kind of response, or his kind of version of, like, similar to what Best of the Worst do, but he's watching more current stuff. Okay. So, like, things that are coming out now on Netflix.
I just love the titles. Those alone win, buddy. You win.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. He's very dry with his wit. Okay, so if you were with us on Wednesday, then you'll know that we have completely shaken things up with this.
Yeah, right.
We have had the crew of the Churchill have landed on the moon. They've discovered something. As of yet, we, the audience, don't know what. But in response to this, the Space Research Centre on Earth have dispatched Colonel Kane of the SAS with, we're going to say, 2 men with him? Or they don't have to be military personnel? We could even send...
I'm just saying at the most 2 men with him, because there's already a 9-man crew, and we don't want to give ourselves too many bodies to play with. No. That would get a little silly.
But they are now en route to find out what is cooking.
So, right, okay, I had a thought between moments.
Still no popcorn.
Oh, poor you. Oh, poor me, I like popcorn too. They've gone out of communication, they've gone several rotations round. Mm-hmm. But by the time that Colonel Kane's mission is on a rendezvous with the Churchill has already started a moon landing. I
suppose they would have had to have a backup landing module in case anything went wrong. Is that what we're saying?
What?
So you're saying that the Churchill has got a backup landing module to land on the moon?
No. I'm saying...
that they're going to try and land the Churchill?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Churchill was a moon mission. Mm-hmm. It was meant to land. Communications went down. However, I don't think that, at least in my version of this, the crew of the Churchill isn't fully aware of how little communication Earth is getting. They've been reporting the whole time while this rescue mission has been sent out to them. They haven't received a response from the moon, and they've got a choice. Do we waste the rest of our fuel and head back to Earth, or do we complete our original mission? So just as Colonel Kane's mission is coming out to the moon to get them, they are on a rendezvous with the moon. Hence, forcing Kane to follow them to the surface.
Makes sense. The Churchill is only equipped to dock... or rather, the rescue mission is only equipped to dock with the Churchill.
Yes.
Which I think... the rescue mission was called the Columbia, wasn't it?
That's it, thank you. I couldn't remember. I remembered it began with C.
Yeah.
So, yes, it would be the Columbia, of course.
Which is going to be fascinating because then when
Isn't that the name of the...
that was an actual space shuttle.
It was the one, though, wasn't it?
No, that was the Challenger.
That was the Challenger. It was another C.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Oh, thank goodness for that. That would have been unfortunate.
How are we saying they're supposed to get down there? Because they wouldn't... Of course, part of the job of the first landing mission was to clear an area for them to be able to... a runway for them to be able to land on.
Yes.
And obviously they've not had to do that, so they've had to kind of basically ditch her.
Yes.
Fantastic. So that, at the moment, that everyone at the minute is stranded on the moon until the Columbia arrives.
I like... Exactly.
It works.
Yeah,
It does work.
and because it was a fuel sensitive situation. They decide, despite the lack of communication, to go in, and just as they're committed to the landing,
Yeah.
they gain communication with the Columbia.
Are we going to have them go down then? Are we going to have them land because they've already
Yeah,
committed?
absolutely.
Yeah.
They need to land.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the story takes us, right?
Yeah.
We need it to happen.
I think one of these each is in order. From last episode and from this one, I think we've both done some pretty spectacular stuff there.
I feel like you're right there. I feel like you're right. We've already done a few tweaks that are significant and cosmetically good.
And we're already on a par with the entirety of last month.
Yeah, already. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, well, that's because, last month,
So most of, certainly the first half of this act then is going to be focused on them making their landing as best they can in the Churchill, the Columbia coming in and following them in, or possibly having to do a rotation while they do what the landing crew was supposed to do and clear a landing strip for them.
But it doesn't land in, it's not an ideal environment. So, like, its landing gear gets damaged. They could lift off, maybe, but it would be a horrible risk to the crew and everything might explode.
Yeah.
But the Columbia is on the way, so they're going to be stuck waiting. And this is when they, of course, get their chance to explore the surface of the moon. Obviously, no, Victorian flag waiting for them. Do we want to say that they spotted the
dome?
The dome?
As they passed over.
Or did they just coincidentally land near it? I feel like I want to say they saw it. It ties into that bit when they don't know that there's no communication, so they're talking to Earth and there's like this amazing dome, Earth, Houston, can you hear me? And that's why they landed where they did?
I would go the other way because I'd say they've had time, because we know that Carlson and the people that were with him will be in with the Selenites. We just don't know where they are at the moment. But they do. They would have probably sealed that off because they're trying to...
Wait, what are you talking about?
So the landing crew has already gone down onto the moon. Carlson has disappeared with his landing
Right,
crew.
whoa.
That's what I...
Whoa, yeah. As soon as you say Carlson disappeared, you are way beyond me.
That's what I said last time on the last episode, was what I was suggesting. They land, the Churchill loses contact with the initial landing party, then when they get in contact with the Earth again... So they're trying to figure out what's happened to them.
Oh, no, yeah, that's...
I was just trying to mimic the scenes from Life Force where they leave the Churchill to go and investigate.
We talked about them losing contact. We didn't talk about them landing on the moon.
I definitely said they landed on the moon. 100% guaranteed.
Right, okay. What I was literally suggesting was that because of atmospheric interference, as they go around the moon, they lose contact and they go through several orbits of the moon with no contact from Earth.
See, that still works. All I've added into this, all I originally said was, the Churchill arrives at the moon.
Yeah.
Carlson and his little team, as they do in Life Force when they go up to investigate the ship,
they
have landed. The crew that's still in the Churchill have
lost
lost contact.
I'm not called that.
Can I finish what I was going to say?
Okay, all right.
They've lost contact with the ground, with the away team, but they have to, because of their orbit, they will have to go out of communication range. They're trying to get this back to Earth, but they can't. Then everything that you said there still happens, because you've got the crew that are still on the Churchill trying to reach the guys on the ground. They can't. And then, as you say, what do we do? Do we go down after them?
Well,
do we return to
why
Earth?
would they send out a rescue mission if they maintained contact with the Churchill the whole time?
They haven't. That's what I say. They still lose contact with the Churchill. So on Earth, they don't know what's happening.
Yeah, but that's all part of the original mission. They were meant to go to the moon. None of those things were things for any concern. It's only till they lose contact with the Churchill that it becomes a concern for Earth and they have to send out a rescue mission.
Yeah, no, it all still works either way. It doesn't matter. In my version, you've got a landing team that has gone down. The Churchill have lost contact with them.
Right, except it just ignores everything that I just said.
No, it doesn't, because you still get the Churchill circling, still has to go on its orbit, and that's when they lose contact. I was doing both.
Yes.
So the Churchill landing to try and rescue the other people.
Once again,
makes
I
sense.
have a problem with this. Because it stops us from being with the crew of the Churchill exploring the moon.
Okay, look. This is what I said last time. Churchill arrives in its orbit around the moon, which is when you went back and said 10 minutes or so of stuff before that. When the Churchill gets into orbit, they send a landing team down to land on the moon. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is Carlson and his people who go off exploring.
No, because what I literally said was that the Churchill lands on the moon. The Churchill lands on the moon. It was meant to land on the moon. So them sending down a landing party negates everything that I said about that.
Right. That's come up this time. Last time, in my original proposal, was the Churchill is supposed to stay in orbit. It has to stay in orbit because that's how they relay the communication back to Earth. Otherwise, they can't do it.
No, that's not how that works at all. Because that's not how the lunar landing in 1969 happened.
Surely they bounced it off the...
They didn't bounce it off anything. They didn't have any satellites.
Yeah, no, but you still had the command module in space. They bounced it off that.
No, it was just a transmitter. It was transmitted live from space. You're saying they should have sent a crew down to the moon before, like, as soon as they got into the orbit.
That was my thinking.
Down to the moon.
That was my thinking.
Right.
If only to create a suitable landing strip for the Churchill to land.
Oh, and now that comment makes sense to me now. That's what you were thinking.
That does both.
That's what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
But when they get down there, they notice this thing, go and investigate, and then the Churchill loses contact with the people on the ground. So,
right.
And that raises the stakes for them.
All right. Okay. All right. So it's a landing crew. So it's probably a pod. It's going to take at most 4 people.
Which is what, again, I think I did say last time, because I was trying to remember how many went out of the Churchill to go into the ship in life.
Oh, right. You asked that question. All right. Okay. So then this moment of tension, when the Columbia gets launched into space as a rescue mission, has to logically be intercut with Carlson and the landing crew exploring the surface of the moon.
Yes.
So instead of a singular moment of tension of did they survive or didn't they, it's them coming out to be a rescue mission. Right. Okay. Right. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
We're back on track. But yes, I like your idea that, yes, the Churchill have been waiting for a response from the land crew that the landing strip is ready. They haven't got it. So as you say, yeah, they're running out of fuel. They need to risk it and just put it down where they can.
Yes.
As close to the original landing module as they can.
Yeah, because I wanted the entire crew of the Churchill on the surface and unable to escape.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they can leave. So that takes care of some of the crew because they're going to be trying to fix the ship.
Yes, they're going to be trying to and fix the ship, fix the communications, get in touch with Earth, doing all of the things they have to do.
Because then some of them can go and find the original landing module and then follow their footprints in the moon dust, which will lead them to the dome. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have them having spotted it as they were coming in to land.
I like them spotting it as they come into land. No, we know, the audience knows, but the characters going, oh shit, there's something else.
To which point you'll probably turn to one of the men that's with him, break out the munitions.
And then, just to be extra wankery, that's when the comms cut out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Doing it that way as well, as you suggested, would also allow for them, once they've had contact with the Columbia, that they will have had time to prepare a proper landing strip. Because if they can't get the Churchill out, they can all try and bundle into the Columbia, strip it down, fill it full of oxygen for the journey home.
Yeah.
So we get Colonel Kane on the moon with his men going to go off and find Carlson.
Yeah, so I imagine, obviously it's a smaller crew anyway, but maybe like, what was it, four or 5 guys? So maybe a couple of them are like, they're the technicians, you stay behind, help these guys get this.
Because it'll be the same pilot that we see from the rescue mission in Life Force.
Oh, yeah.
So probably, and he seemed to be. Oh no, there was him and one other, wasn't there?
Was there? I thought there was 3.
I only remember seeing 2. I remember seeing.
I might be wrong. I think maybe in my head I was thinking 3. Yeah,
that's what I remember. You might be right. There might be 3. I don't know. We'll have to go back and check. But it doesn't matter.
I just want to say before we get any further, as we said, the landing crew came down earlier. As all of this stuff is going on, there's Carlson and the others of the landing crew exploring under the dome.
So this is the point we want to see that.
As Kane is discovering what's going on
Yes.
above ground, we should be seeing what Carlson is discovering below ground.
No, that's cool. I don't mind
like
either
an
way.
intercut, like back and forth kind of thing.
Because I didn't know whether it was going to be for the audience. The mystery for the audience is we discover it as Kane goes in to find Carlson.
But you see, then we only get to see the violent side of it.
It's true.
That's my concern. Carlson's the emotional one. He's the one who's going to empathise.
So this is the better act than to bring that into. So as soon as we as the audience see
Yeah.
the dome, then we can see what's happening underneath. So you can have a nice kind of tracking shot of kind of like going towards the dome and then from the other side moving away.
Down into the shaft, spiralling through until you eventually the spiral meets one of the little spiralling walkways and following them down.
As it's going further down, you can hear their voices in the distance in the cave, echoing around the caves.
Yes.
And then we come in on them as they are guests of the Selenites.
Absolutely, yeah. Or at least discovering the Selenites,
Yes.
which, however we want to do this. I like the idea of Kane's trepidation and concern and problem solving juxtaposed with the emotional journey that Carlson is taking inside the orbit of the moon.
So how far into this then do we want to go before we call the end of the act?
We need to see the Selenites.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 of them. I feel like one of them will do a reflection of what happens. You remember when they're on the spiral staircase and it's Caver and Bedford?
Yes.
And they come forward and they're sort of prodding them a little bit and Bedford leaps forward and pulls one of them off and flings him down.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of imagining that one of the astronauts does the same thing, but gets flung off.
Yes. It could even be that he goes
No,
to...
Gibbs, no!
Yeah, he goes to...
Gibbs, it has name, it has to be Gibbs.
Gibbs.
No, Gibbs,
yes.
no.
Yeah, he goes to kind of stop him. Yeah, there's a bit of loose earth or something. He slips and falls off the edge.
Yeah.
Like, no!
No, Gibbs, no!
Again, we can cut back to Kane and his men lowering down through the dome, trying to follow them down. Maybe they even hear a "No, don't" or something like that, or a scream.
Yes, because it would a scream, a Wilhelm, not a Wilhelm scream, but
yes.
a scream, a good scream.
Get the guns out.
That sounds like a man screaming.
Yeah. Yes. Fantastic. And then they head off down. I mean, is that about where we want to call it?
Well, it's my problem is I'd like Carlson to get a little further before Kane catches up with him.
Of course. I mean, they are far ahead anyway. So, what you want to get the point?
No, you're right. People, what do you think?
How about this? So we get that bit, as you say, and we get the scream and all this Colonel Kane and that stuff.
I like that moment. It really works well for me.
We then cut back to Carlson, where they're on the bridge across the chasm. They get pushed through the bridge, and then the last thing we see for the end of the act is the pathway closing up again, and we don't know where they've gone beyond that. That's not enough, though.
No, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
I would no. Again, that's still a pretty good image. Well, I was just going to say, the oxygen machine.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that moment. It's like and the door slams and there's darkness and it's Kane up above. Carlson, and there's no sound, and then they start hurrying down, and then it slowly spirals down and through the rock wall. And into this cavern that is slowly illuminated by the bioluminescence of the oxygen device or something like that. Like a kind of Life of, the movie Life of Pi, you've seen it? Yeah, the amazing spectacle. I can imagine it would be it's a blank cavern, but, when the door closes, it's a blank cavern, and then slowly the bioluminescence opens up. And you can see the oxygen machine like a living organism around them.
That's a lot better than what I had. All I was going to suggest was that see Kane and these men racing through the galleries trying to find them. We still get that moment that I said with the thing closing. So you've got Carlson and those of them that are left on the one side being herded into the thing by the Selenites. Colonel Kane and his men arrive just as they're going through. The bridge comes up, so they're cut off from them. And that's when he starts firing, and they're like, no! But then you see them taken away into the rest of the complex, and Colonel Kane's, he's seen him, but can't get to him. That was what I was going to suggest. But I like yours better. It's a lot more visual.
I want Kane to be further behind.
Yes.
I need more time for Carlson's team, because they're...
To try and establish contact, all of that kind of thing.
They need, yeah.
So we get those two sides of the story.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's where I feel like leaving it, personally.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's cool.
I hope you agree, folks. It was a bit random ride there. We're making a lot of shit up this week.
It's fun. It's after the last one. So the last one not enough, this one too much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to leave it there, and we will be back with you again on Wednesday next week with our last act of Life in the Moon.
Ooh.
God knows how this is going to go.
Well, come along and see how it turns out, eh, folks?
As always, have a wonderful weekend, have a brilliant start to next week, and we will see you on Wednesday.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.